Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your Chelsea news video on this fine Thursday. Right now, I've got the most beautiful view of Green State Mountain, I think it is, or Green Mountain in Vermont. It's absolutely gorgeous. But today, I'm going to be talking to you about the Chelsea news. Of course, that's what you're here for, isn't it? Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already and smack a like on today's video. We're going to talk first of all about a statement on socials from the co-founder and managing partner at Clearlake Capital, Jose Feliciano. A lot of the times when we talk about the Chelsea ownership, because the front-facing person really has been Todd Boehly, but he only makes up a smaller part of the Chelsea ownership structure, with Clearlake Capital being the majority, with Behdad Eghbali also being a name that we hear a little bit more frequently than Jose Feliciano. But I think it's interesting to have a look at this quote here, and again, this is all positive stuff, so I'm going to read it out and give my thoughts on it. We won the FIFA Club World Cup. Congrats, Chelsea Football Club. Still not a finished product, very few things are, but after a few years, we're like the great football philosopher with three ice cold emojis recently said, everyone's talked a lot of shit about us. It is great to finish this season with 2 trophies, a win against a formidable European champion, and qualification for the Champions League next season. There's absolutely no denying from anybody that Chelsea's end to the season has been fantastic, and I would actually argue pretty damn remarkable, considering what it looked like only a few months ago. If you haven't seen the video yet, where it was the last video or the first video after the match day vlog, where I'm like, look, I've got to address this, because I was very, very critical of this ownership, very critical of the sporting directors, and critical of everything going on at the club, because I just couldn't see that we would be able to achieve what we've already achieved. And I was looking not just at the season that we've just finished, but I was looking beyond that season, or beyond this season just gone, and thinking, I don't know if this model's going to work. I don't know if you can just buy a load of young players and have Enzo Maresca as the manager, who, let's be honest, had won the championship, but until he's at Chelsea, hadn't really proven too much. And I was doubtful, but I also wanted to make sure that after the matchday vlog, having celebrated wildly that Chelsea won the Club World Cup, I wanted the praise to be even louder than the criticism was. The ending to Chelsea's season, if it doesn't get you excited for what this team could become, it's not a finished product. And I think that is the most exciting thing here. Resting on our laurels. We're not thinking, well, just because we've gone and won 2 trophies, people can belittle the Conference League and the Club World Cup all they like. We have Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG, just to name a few, in this tournament, and yet Chelsea are the ones with our names etched on the trophy. So this is a phenomenal achievement, and without doubt it absolutely shows that big progressions have been made at this football club. So everybody deserves to be praised for the results that we've garnered towards the end of this season. So let's go forward and take a look at what else. What we wrote last year still stands. We believe we need to be doing the following: consistently winning or contending for the Premier League and Women's Super League titles, consistently playing in the Champions League and competing for domestic and international cups, consistently competing for titles across the youth age groups, and developing and discovering the next generation of footballing talent for the benefit of the club. Being responsible actors and contributors to our community while meeting financial fair play and other regulatory requirements, earning the trust and confidence of our supporters. Please know that everyone at the club is relentlessly focused on delivering that. Now, I'll say this. It's very important to understand, right? What we're seeing at Chelsea right now hasn't really been done before. PSG have kind of got their own version of that. They got Luis Enrique in charge. They've done incredibly well, but then they got beaten by us in the final, which absolutely, in my eyes, is the biggest moment where trust has been gained by a large portion of the fan base. And as much as it might be difficult for some people to believe, and I find it hard to believe that people think this, but I think a lot of people just purely believe that we couldn't get over not having Roman Abramovich, that George Benson just didn't want Blueco to succeed, which would make absolutely no sense. I'm a Chelsea fan. I love it when we win, and I flipping hate it when we lose. And I think that is pretty damn obvious if you've ever watched this channel after a defeat. And I know that sometimes it can come across as very aggressive, but I'm a passionate fan who cares about this football club and how far we can possibly go. So to actually see these words again, I think it's a great time for Clear Lake especially, and anybody associated at the top end of the club, to reaffirm what these goals are. And if you look at this, right, consistently winning or contending for the Premier League, that's exactly what we were looking to do under Roman. And we talk about standards, okay? And I think a lot of people forget that last season we couldn't win the Champions League. We weren't even in it. We couldn't win the Europa League. We weren't even in it. We could have only won the Conference League because that was the competition we were in. And in the Premier League, we did pretty well. We had a big patch in the middle of the season where we fell away, where we crumbled. But all in all, it's an incredibly successful season. Maybe not as successful as, 2012, where we had an FA Cup Champions League double, or yes, we want to be winning the Prem. Considering everything was torn up and it's gone down a completely different path, I'm certainly not going to sit here and just keep on slating something where I've witnessed 2 trophies be won, and we're seeing this summer a squad that absolutely looks more capable going into next season. Without all of the business being done, I'm seeing a squad that I think can be competitive for the Premier League. Not to say that I think the squad building is done. It definitely isn't. I think we still need a few more acquisitions. I think we absolutely need to get rid of some dead wood. But it seems to me as though, from all of the things I'm reading and seeing, I, as a fan, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think that in terms of what I think the squad should be for Maresca, I think everything is aligned. We're going to be trying to get rid of players that either were problematic last season in the sense of where do they fit in the system, or players that we've probably bought that we shouldn't have done, and we've been learning on the job. And as much as it's been very frustrating, and at times I've been incredibly loud about that frustration, I also think we're trying to rectify those problems. And I think we're doing everything that we can to stop making the same mistakes so that the future isn't filled with the same errors which can stunt how quickly we can move forward. I hope all of that makes sense. Excited about the UEFA Champions League, where we belong, and EPL next season. Again, congrats team, #winners, #more goals. I think it's important that I keep reiterating this. Right now, I have got a lot of faith in this team. What I saw at that Club World Cup was fantastic. And it's not just the Club World Cup. It's the end of season form. It's the way that we found this determination. It's the togetherness of the players. And look, you can't go around saying we're all very, very young forever, because players are getting older all the time. Competing at the top level, beating the likes of PSG, that's how you grow as a footballer. Levi Colwill, a player that's been in the academy, so many high hopes, had a little bit of a lulling period in terms of that growth and development, but look at him now. Look at Trevor Chalobah. Yes, the club made a mistake, and he should have been at Chelsea the whole flipping season. We shouldn't have loaned him out. We should never have looked to sell him. Going to talk about Trev in a minute, but look at the performances across 2 finals from Trevor Chalobah. Look at how brilliant he's been since we recorded him in January, and this needs to be spoken about. As much as I called out what I thought was wrong, we've rectified it. We've brought Trev back in, and it looks as though, as we move into the first piece of Chelsea news, Trevor Chalobah might not be for sale this summer, which finally, after window after window after window of just thinking, why is Trev not in the manager's first team plans? Trevor Chalobah should absolutely be considered as a top centre-half at Chelsea. Yes, there's probably better centre-backs in world football, maybe. But at the same time, this is the most reliable player that Chelsea have had. He's always fit. He's always there, delivering, if not great, good performances, time and time again. And I think when we look at where we need to invest this summer, and we've obviously done videos about it, we've looked at the squad, we've looked at the depth in which we have, and I think we should do that again soon, because after that Club World Cup, I think some of the ideas on positioning and tactical stuff, Maresca-based tactical stuff, has probably changed quite a lot since we've seen the latter stages and the knockout rounds of that tournament, because again, we've seen an adaptability and Enzo Maresca's willingness to change the tactics dependent on the opposition. and bringing variance to the way that Chelsea play. Against PSG, it was very much a man-for-man press, everybody aware of where they need to be. And I think
if we're going to do this against more aggressive teams next season, then Trevoh Chalobah is absolutely essential. Honestly, I couldn't stand to see Chelsea getting rid of our homegrown talents as if they were disposable. And look, knowing that Trevoh Chalobah isn't leaving the club right now is, for me, one of the best news of the summer. This guy has already proven he has grit, reads the game, is versatile, and, most importantly, loves playing for Chelsea. When things get tough, when we face teams that put heavy pressure up front, like City, Liverpool, even Newcastle, his presence in defense is reassuring. If we're going to face an intense and physical schedule, Chalobah has to be a pillar. Now, about Nicholas Jackson. Look, I have mixed feelings here. On the one hand, I understand the rumors, and I understand that other clubs are watching. The guy has already shown flashes of a unique center forward, good movement, speed, presence in the box. But you can't pretend he hasn't missed clear goals throughout the season. And that's a big deal for a team like Chelsea, which is still trying to find consistency in attack. But here's the main point. If you sell Jackson, you need another striker. Period. You can't enter a brutal Premier League with just João Pedro, who isn't even a true number 9, and Liam Delap, who's still very raw. Jackson's departure is only acceptable if someone arrives to be a starter. And don't come to me with bets or promises. The team needs a ready-made killer. Regarding Garnacho and Gittins, yes, Chelsea still seems to have their radar on these names. But that doesn't solve the issue of the number 9 shirt. Garnacho is explosive on the wing. Gittins is an interesting prospect, but neither of them will solve the hole in the center of attack if Jackson leaves.